think maybe I should start. The others will find us on the way because time is running and time is money. And so wazosithola phambili wazosithola sesiqhubekile sesikhuluma ukuthi kwenzakala. Okay, igama lami ngoNtando Phindile Zamashando Mbatha. Ntando PZ. I'm born and bred in Mnambiti, Estateville. Everybody who knows me knows that I take pride in my heritage, in my history. Let me just mute the notification so that there's no noise for us, and we all, yes, so that we're not disturbed. So everybody who knows me knows that I take pride in heritage. I love history. I'm always just speaking about history and this and this and that. So that's my pride. I love that I come from Stateville, despite everything that's happened, despite all ibams to tool or not. I mean that's my heritage. We can't erase that part of our history and where we come from. I believe I'm invited today by her word, and I'm so grateful that they've asked me to be here today and share whatever is on my mind. I believe they've invited me today because they've seen what's here. I've recently published a book. So I'm also an author of a voice. This book, we'll talk about it a bit later. It's an anthology of poems that speaks about a woman and takes on a journey of a woman's experience, what's happened, what she's gone through, and how she's felt, like, about everything that's happened to her. So I believe this is why I'm invited here, and I'm so grateful to her word. I'm so grateful to be a part of this body of women that come together and speak about whatever it is that they are feeling, they are experiencing, and just their walks through life and share and maybe give experiences to, ideas to one another about how we can just, get through life and how we can survive the spaces we find ourselves in. So there are two things I'm going to speak about today, representation and healing. I'm no expert in any of these things, but I think just speaking about these things and starts up conversation, and wherever we are, then we can start, hey, but also not to get a better, but we start conversations and we start speaking about certain things. So representation, there's just, South Africa doesn't represent women that much. I'm just worried that young girls who see statues that, a statue, we can't miss that a statue glorifies. So I'm going to refer to heritage and history a lot because of my experience. But we can't miss that a statue glorifies a certain something about somebody. So, and when there's a statue out there, you want to know, you're inquisitive, especially young kids, want to know, Mama, who's this? And what's the story behind all of it? And so and 90%, I haven't counted, but wherever I am, it's just male. And sure, we're grateful that they played a certain role, but there's a glorification and there's a gap in the telling of our histories if we miss the stories of women, and if we're just going to sort of glorify a certain gender and miss other aspects about the rest of us. So welcome to everybody that's coming through. So a young girl needs to feel represented in her space wherever she goes. There's this thing about women who take up roles or spaces that have been dominated by men. They get there and sort of defeminize themselves, like as if you get there and find for you to affirm what you deserve the position you're in. And as I was studying, I would read up a lot on these women's stories, particularly those who have been arrested, those who were in exile and whatnot. And it always seemed like I'm reading a story of a man, and I just be like, why are you removing the female aspect? Why are you removing it? How this affected you? I enjoy. This is why I enjoy so much Winnie Mandela's books, because she gets there and she tells you, this is how this made me feel. This is how I was angry or I was broken down. I cried. I couldn't sleep. And then you take a story out of that. It goes, oh, okay, so she came out of it, and it becomes like, sort of, okay, So young girls need to see all of those things, and if only they get into spaces and it's only just male, they think, okay, truthfully, such spaces are not for me. I can't be in this space, so and so that's why we need to then start see and bulldoze our way, because we can't expect them to give it to us. It's just not going to happen. So we need to bulldoze our way, and we need to start sharing stories of the woman in our past. I when I was growing up, I was called Umkabai, and I hated it. I was like, don't call me that, because it seemed like such a you know, and I didn't understand until some call. I'm like, okay, no, I actually enjoy it. Like, I wish everybody can start calling me Mkabai, because then I started reading her history. Apart from what was said, because like Mkabai waka uzungu Shaga, like she got Shaga killed. But that's not the only story about her. They missed to talk about what Mkabai is actually the reason Shaka ascended position yake. Umkabai is the reason Utingan. Okay, she's part of the reason Shaka was killed, sure. But like, you know, why keep him a course? So I mean, that has to take a lot. So she was full of trickery, she was full of deceit, but they missed to speak about Mkabai the politician, Mkabai the intelligent woman, Mkabai who would get there and speak to men and tell them, Mkabai washela umtania for ubabake after umawake shonile wathi ke nongizokutholela unkosikazi so that you can have an heir. That takes a lot, and she was young, and so like we need to be telling such stories, and they're so exciting. They excite me a lot, and I wish young girls could see such representation as well. I wish young girls could see no, but you know, these and get excited when they read such stories. No, and so they need role modeling. There's when we speak about Winnie Mandela, I'll refer to her a lot as well. And then they'll bring up Stormby. I'm not saying, you know what, that's history, that's part of history. But Winnie Mandela was a career woman. She was a mother. She was a politician. Mama in her neighborhood, simply because they understood the role she played and understood her word. That takes a lot. Not a lot of us are called oh mama where we are. Not a lot of us settled into a position and we understood and we take pride in where it doesn't happen, you know. So I love such stories, and I wish we could like see Gajing how and speak a whole lot more about this. Queen Mantatisi, who became regent after her husband Shona, because then she became the Queen Mantatisi. She was also a politician. They speak a lot about her. She won so many. She won so many wars and this and that. But we miss such things. We need such stories in our narratives, and young girls need to see that, so that they can, you know, it's so exciting when you represent it. It's so exciting when you see somebody who's just like you. I mean, Zozi Bini said, take up space, and she was not lying when she said that, because women need to get into, even if you bulldoze your way through, just sit or be comfortable and take those spaces. The ordinary woman we see in our spaces, those women as well, we need to be speaking about. When I was doing the history as a state veil, I'm an oral historian, so I enjoy sitting down with the person who say, tell me what's your story. How have you been? How has this affected you? How have you grown from this? And how have you gone to sort of be a role model for the women around you? And such things. Those are the stories that we need to tell. Those are the stories that we need to be boastful about, and not be shy, because I'm a feminist, and not be scared. Who say, yeah, valid. We need to start talking about our histories, because history, and it's difficult for Black women because we fight race issues. We're fighting spaces where see me as a Black person. And then we must fight spaces again with it. See me as a woman. I'm here and I matter and I've got a brain. And I think in those spaces where that women occupy now, that have been dominated by men previously, if these women got there and stopped what I term defeminizing themselves, removing the feminine part about themselves, we'd actually go very far. There's this thing of seeing a woman break each other, the pull her down syndrome and whatnot. Maybe it's because we are made to compete. That is why. So the women who are there now know let's compete. They know this is our space, and they finally figure it out because the representation they see or the role modeling they see is the men. So they get in those spaces and do what men are doing. But if they just got into their spaces and be comfortable about being a woman, do you understand how a lot of things would go right? Honestly, the other gender isn't doing so well. So if they didn't defeminize themselves, they would actually be pulling other women up. In all honesty, in my career, it hasn't been women that push me down. They haven't been fighting in my space. It's mostly men that want to be gatekeepers or say, no, you can't grow because the space is just supposed to be for us. So they try to suppress voice every time. But so like we bulldoze our way. We get into spaces and we do what we need to do. So we need to break the shackles. We need to open bars. We need to take spaces wherever wherever there are knots. We need to untie them. And young girls need to feel represented. And in 2021 we're still having the first woman or like, you know what, all those spaces are first in 2021. We must take all of them. In 2022, Mr. Figure said finally settle in our roles and we can become comfortable. I took interest in women when I was I'm a feminist. Some people are just born like this. But when I was studying, I looked in the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, and I was so excited, like, okay, most people will come to the TRC are women. I'm like, oh no, sure, let's see what they have to say. But as I'm reading or watching their videos, hey, they get to these women and they talk about the men. They talk about, this is what my husband went through, my brother, and my comrade, my male comrade, but they're not talking about themselves. That's why there was even a special hearings for women that the TRC, because they were like, no, wait a minute, these people are not telling these stories. They're telling us about uban. So they had to be such things for women. So even when I was reading those stories, I'm like, but they're still not telling their stories. And so I got interested in the women and how women still want to be selfless in all the spaces they're in and still think, you know what, it's fine, I can be battered down, I can be beaten down, it's okay. If it's for the liberation of South Africa, then no, I should have. But out there, you know what, this was an injustice. This wasn't supposed to happen, and then there's this fallacy with the feminists or women who talk about women issues. Who say, they be like, you angry? People very, I have to be angry. And I'm smiling saying this, but we have to be angry because for them to take us seriously, we have to just get there and be like, and if we must stand on tables, if we must bulldoze our way, we do that for things to happen. And I mean, militancy, this is how we apartheid, because people, they had to be militancy, they had to be the MK, they had to be the, so now let's see and group ourselves and see what we actually a better force together than we are divided. And if we get into spaces like this, now in this case, Lama conferences, Lama conferences, 13 February, the imaginary one. We actually have a serious one. Okay, we are better, or or this is how we can go forward together as women. And Women too fought for freedom. We need to be telling such stories. Women too are business people. Women too are mine owners. Women too are historians, are authors, and women too are healers. And you need to like renown such things and be so excited about. Okay, the first 15 minutes of my talk is done. And then I need to get this was just to spark conversation so that we can speak more about these things and what shapes us, what hurts us, what breaks us down, and where we need to be as a woman. And then my second part is healing, and this one is very close to my heart. Well, the first one is that this one because it's an ongoing process. We do this every day. We do this all the time. In our waking move, you are healing. Every month you go on your period, you're healing. It's a new cycle. You're healing. You're getting rid of los sindelezo. You're starting anew. And so we it's not a mistake that every day, almost every day, you're hearing heal. Why am I being told about healing? It's not a mistake, because we need to heal. You need to heal from rape. We need to heal from past hurt. We need to heal from a broken heart. We need to heal. There was a study that was done, and because I'm a historian, I need to really go back to the study and find it exactly and get a proper reference. In America, on slavery, and they found that in our DNA as Black people, we carry the trauma, we carry the hurt, we carry the stress of that our forefathers, our ancestors suffered, the slaves. So if the DNA can be carried, if the hurt and the trauma and the stress can be carried in our DNA, can you imagine how urgent it is for us to start healing? Can you imagine that when you heal, you're not healing just yourself, you're healing past generations, and you're healing your children? Because although it's part of how we socialized, I think I'm raising my son the way I am because of what I know. Perhaps a part of how I was raised as well, but also how I'm socialized, and the stuff that I'm reading was okay. From there, the mistakes, zangale, I must stop them and start fixing things. Isn't just having and so it's important for us to heal. It's important for us to start that process so that you ensure ukuthi does not bear the scars zako of 25 years ago. When we start healing journeys, they normally say hug the child that is you, because you need to comfort. So it's understandable, and it's important from a very young age. So you need to make sure your children don't have to heal from the hurt that you inflict on them. So the healing process has to start now to heal past generations. I think I'm speaking to mostly Christians, but I think maybe there would be other people who understand ancestry, who understand not the calling, but the heritage, who understand what isn't though. The sugar from this generation is to another. So imagine the importance of healing yourself when you're doing a favor to your grandchildren as well. And so and there's another thing, we bottle a lot of emotion. I spoke about us to you angry and whatnot. So you bottle a lot of things because we are saba or you're scared of being a woman. You're scared of extending, and you don't feel like talking that day, and you're not a morning person. It's okay. It's a bad thing. And you don't want to talk. So you're grumpy, you're angry, you're moody. It's not moody. I'm being a woman, and I'm just connecting. Maybe at that moment I'm just connecting with God, and I'm trying to hear messages from God, and I'm trying to silence all the noise around me. Can you just allow me to be a woman? Can you just allow me to be in that space and be free? Say to her, we're moody and whatnot, because you're disgruntled and you're holding up all of these things, and they're building up, and you become so angry because really you're not allowed to let all these things be. So can we be free? Can we be just allowed to express ourselves? Can I be allowed with men voice saying can we just be allowed such things? Okay, obviously in a perfect world would be allowed to do such things. But I just want to stress also, when we tell our stories, can we tell them as women? Can I just be untando and be allowed to say, a certain something affected me, a certain this and this and this and this and this affected me, so and so, and be okay with that feeling weak? Most of the time, about and how this has affected her. Basically, are you weak? Or women are too emotional, women are, as if we're not supposed to have tears. Where do the tears of the men go? Because I believe it's not as now my glands now as sense with this car. So where do their tears go? How do they release? So such things like you must feel shame for being a woman. Welcome to people who are coming through. You must feel shame for being a woman and the experiences and there's just another a part that I just want to touch on before I conclude. Sexual assault. That is what a lot of us need to heal from. Don't speak about this. You're raped by an uncle or a brother or a cousin or whatnot, and don't speak about it. Don't report it, because this is a family, so it becomes a family secret. But in every event, what December, when something is like I have to see this person, and I have to re-experience the hurt and the trauma and akhulunywa ngayo. Namanje usaphatheke kabuhlungu ukuthi this has happened to you. Get over it. But how am I supposed to get over such an experience, something that was invasive, something that violated me so much? Maybe it's because people don't understand the violation that happens when somebody is being sexually violated. Growing up, and these are the things we're not speaking about. You're not even sure what's wrong, like you're not sure, because these are not the conversations you are having. And you're saying you're not going anywhere until you agree to be my girlfriend. You come back late home. Bible says, when we sent you to buy bread, why are you so late? And you can't even tell this, because you're not sure if they're going to understand, or they're going to say, no, you phone, because most of the time it's no, you wanted it to happen. I remember growing up, I was 12 years old. This lady said to me, if a man doesn't beat you up, he doesn't love you. Thank goodness I didn't listen to her, because wow. So, but can you imagine how many people have heard that? And these are people's lived experiences. This is what has happened. You need to break your virginity at a certain age, and I'm not comfortable. I don't want to do that. But the sexual violations happen, and these are the things we're not speaking about, because how do you even begin to speak about it? Because that channel of communication hasn't been open for you. You haven't been allowed to actually sit down and speak about that experience. There was something as ridiculous as when you start your period, just you having sex. So you're scared with, my period has started, I'm 13 and I haven't had sex. They're going to think I've had sex. We were socialized that way. Those are the stories we were hearing. And we need to guard against, I know that our children need to be free and speak to people, whatever, but the sexual grooming that teenage girls buy anxiety for like 10-year-olds, that a lot of people are not aware of, and we haven't been speaking about. But a lot of women's first sexual encounter was with another woman, a girl probably 5 years older than you, actually like sexual grooming you, telling you what's in, and then you can't even speak about what's happening to my body, like why am I feeling like this, like what's happening, and so these stories like they are shashwat, but people are not really like challenging them and speaking about them. This is what happened, because but because I'm hurting and I need to have a release, like when you're in nkundla, like okay, and people and women are talking about these experiences. So before I close, I'd just like to speak a bit about my book. Maybe I spoke about this. I'm selling it myself. It's 120 rand. I just wanted to read a few passages from the four parts of the book. I mentioned it's her sorrow, it's her rape, it's her strength, it's her love, and just touch a bit on that before we end. Maybe just read a few stanzas from each poem. There's the first poem that I've titled "Free Me, O Lord, from My Own Sorrow," simply because it's a prayer. A friend of mine actually came to me, and it's a guy. He's like, we work him in the union. I'm not gonna blast him. And it's like, but hey, leader, the past week I've been reading that poem every morning because it's become a prayer for me, And I was like, I didn't see it that way. And then I went back to it. I'm like, oh my goodness, it actually is a prayer. But it's titled "Free Me, O Lord, from My Own Sorrow." I'm just gonna read one stanza from it. "The wounds that have been exposed by the onslaughts of brutal reality, let them be healed. Make my soul at peace with itself and the bitter vile taste of hatred every time I think of the pain I have endured. Let it be removed from every part of me. Let all this lump which has grown in my throat when I try to voice out my feelings be crippled." This goes back to allowing women's voices to opening our throat chakra and understanding our stories matter, the paths that we have walked matter, and we need to tell these stories so that we ensure the rest of the women who are suffering or experiencing Lendelena actually have a way of, maybe they have tools of how to heal. They have tools of how do they deal with certain aspects or certain things that have happened to them. Even the hurt and the trauma. There's a lot of abuse that we suffer, man, from one Lisa. It's abuse because how are you supposed to feed the family with no, I'm not joking. A man can't tell you what's the and then I was speaking with a friend of mine recently, and then he said, actually women are leaders. They are supposed to lead. They are the ones who are supposed to lead homes. And this is why a lot of things are going wrong, because back then, who was plowing? Who was like, women are not just nurturers, but they are life givers. We are life givers for a reason, and we need to embrace such things and be allowed to take our space and take those roles. That's why we're so frustrated. That's why all the time, because you're not allowed to lead, and you're actually a born leader. You're supposed to lead in Javela. So please allow us to settle into those spaces and do what we need to do. Then the second one is rape. The poem is titled "My Inheritance." And this goes back to what I have been speaking about. So we inherit these misfortunes, we inherit the hurt, we inherit the stress, and all of these things. So, I'm just gonna read the last part. It's a whole poem. It doesn't have stanzas, but I'm just gonna read the last few lines. "I'm breaking this culture. Unlike them, I will protect my daughter. If there is a God out there, may he hear my plea, may he hear my cries, may he prevent this from happening to my daughter. May he break this culture. It ends with me. I refuse for her to experience this pain. It ends now." And then her strength. I'm excited about this one because I speak about Woman Tatisi, Wom Kabai, Wom Maya Angelou. You can imagine that I love Maya Angelou because I'm a poet as well and a writer. This one is called Being Woman. I'm beautiful, though sometimes I forget and need a little reminder. I'm smart, though at times I need clues. I keep everything in order, but at times I need a little help. I'm sweet, but at times I become enraged. Understand me. I'm flexible, though at times I can be stubborn. Respect that and stay out of my way. I know my worth, but at times I'd like to feel appreciated. I love myself so much, but at times I'd like you to show me that you mean it when you say you love me. I smile and also cry. Comfort me. I'm a woman. Embrace this beautiful creature. The last one before I close, it's under her love. The weird thing about her love is that you would think, what's okay, this woman is only expressing being in love and this and this and this, but it's a lot about self-love. So this next poem is titled Walked Away. We don't walk away from hurt because we're trying to save our marriages, we're trying to save the guy's reputation, we're trying to save our children, but when we think we're saving our children, that's when we're actually causing them hurt. That's when we're actually causing them stress. And another thing, I spoke with a friend of mine one time, and we were talking about how we always blame the woman for not leaving. But why aren't we saying the men from the very beginning should not have hurt? The men should not have abused. The men should not have not spent time with the children. The man should not have been the one onganikezi imali, you know. So we blame the woman again constantly, every time. Like, why, woman? You should have left. But no, indoor from the very beginning shouldn't have. But we need to walk away. I don't like discomfort. I don't like. So that's why I told friends, once again, don't come to me from a relationship about that. It was not just leave. Get out of there. And that's not what you need to hear, but you need to, and the something happens, this thing is in your hand, because ansabo kamba, uzotivusa kangaki, but angisho saying ngashad. So the son is walked away. So shadayo what? I recorded every ill treatment from you, remembered even the emotion, maybe even the day it happened. Can that still be love? This love sends shadows of apprehension. They could be felt through the darkest valleys. I had to walk away. Love shouldn't be complicated. It should flow like the ocean, maybe even angrier than the waves, but should never cause hurt. There is no difficulty that enough love will not conquer. I hope you can find happiness. Find someone to show you the beauty that is love. I wasn't one to do that, and it's okay. I had to walk away. With those words, I'm so grateful, and you've gotten a chance to be in this space, and there's an energy exchange. Kufana nokuthi mangabe ukhuluma nomuntu bangapumtshela inkinga zakho, there's that energy exchange, and maybe there's when abafazi are gossipers. Kuyasinda, indaba yomuntu iyasinda, but the problem is mangabe usukhuluma about into late, because you want a let out. Don't mention my name. Don't mention my, don't say what's it, yo, pero undando, this is what she's going through. Ne. Like, you should say, so when a woman goes through internje, so uzothola advice from another person, okay, this is how you, but not the gossip, how guys. And we need to show, like, some in the corners of my eyebrows. Guys, I can't do the brows on fleek thing, and admit and that's okay. These are the things, like, we need to have such conversations. We need to have isn't be so easy there. In all honesty, we need to have each other's backs. We need to like, be our sister's keeper. Maya Angelou said that there's no sister's keeper, like, she explained it in another way, so you guys can go through that. But we need to be guard against hurting each other. Like, singathathelana madoda. No, that's just on a lighter note. But we need to be. We need to show each other love, express love, and by expressing love, it means I'm picking you up when you're feeling down. It means I'm understanding. It means when I'm a CEO, I'm not messing with CEO. a female as but this is what I'm going through. Behind their back and like no, it's some like understand women are going through so much and we need to assist each other, and that isn't the other gender does not understand. And I understand because I'm a woman. I understand this is what you're going through, and we need to start those conversations. We need to have more of these conversations. We need to also just take pride in being a woman. Take pride in your femininity. Even the stories. When you read the Bible, read more Ruth. Read more Mary Magdalene. I was watching a documentary. She was actually never a prostitute. I'm like, how many women actually know this? Because it's coming about women. We go to these conferences, to our proverbs. What women? Yes, okay. And those that strive for that. But who are just like, hey, can I just be okay with? I don't want to have children in my life. Can it just be okay with? I never want to get married. Can it just be okay with? I remember many years ago, I was speaking to my grandmother, she's also watching. And she would tell me, like, yo, mkhulu wako, wayemura. And I'm like, Koko, why didn't you leave? It's like, I would go home. And her father was like, no, but Mtanami can't go through this but like the women were like, no, because and I pay homage to such women, and I wish there are stories of triumph and there are stories of strength, because she stayed there in that marriage, which I believe was loveless, because there was a lot of abuse. My grandfather is late, but even when sometimes when I pray, I'm like, but why did you go through? Why did you do this? And maybe I understand some of the things that women go through now because of these stories that I've experienced. And if he's going to go as a pushing, but he needs to apologize for the hurt that he inflicted on her, because that DNA is carried through us, and that's without even subconsciously we experience those things as well. So let's start healing. Let's start healing in our spaces. Let's start healing so that our children don't have to heal from the hurt that we have caused them as well. Can we start opening our throat chakras? Can we start talking about the injustices as well? But can we uplift each other? Can we be safe spaces for each other as women? Can we, if there are opportunities, share those opportunities as well? If there's somebody who's got a business, share that with them, because we need to understand if I'm not going to do that. And it also goes back to self-love. It's a reflection of who you are. During my healing period, I was complaining about this certain woman, and my therapist said, but you need to understand how a person treats you. It has nothing to do with you. It's a reflection of who they are. So when you do certain things to other women, understand that it's a reflection of your own self. That's who you are. And are you okay with how you're portraying yourself? Are you okay with because of the pain that you have caused them? Are you okay? Are you sleeping okay with yourself? And we're women, we're emotional beings, and we need to constantly, in our wake, in Latamba Corner, understand their energies, and we are healers. You step into a space, you are healing. You step into a space and you are nurturing. You step into a space and you're bringing life. You're a life giver. And we need to, in all our spaces, in all our waking, Latamba Corner, reflect all of those things. With those words, ngiyabonga kakhulu for taking your time out, taking your airtime, and like I said earlier, time is money, and you took your money, wathenga data just to listen to lengane leyakambatha ushando kandaba usontsikazi ngithiyanga ngiyabonga. Say whatever she has to say. I hope this is not the last live. I hope we have more conversations. I hope we cross our paths more, and I hope that you share this video with other women, even if it's just snippets, that you share them with other women, so that they can start healing, and then start having, at least more than anything. I'm not here to, as an expert, to tell you or prescribe to you how you're supposed to heal and whatnot, but I'm here to tell you, start healing, start being light. So to all of you, ngiyabonga. Lisedi Khanye Akobe Nkazimolo Ngiyamthokozisa nonke, and thank you to God, thank you to your angels, and thank you to your guides for allowing you to come into this space and listen to me today. Ngiyabonga kakhulu, manithokoze nibe nobusuku obuhle. God bless each and every one of you. I don't know how to finish. Thank you. Bye bye.